The story of Jonathan Byers in the world of Stranger Things is, at its heart, a quiet anthem for the invisible kids, a testament to the profound power of seeing someone not for what they lack, but for the depth they hold in silence. He is introduced to us as a figure of absence, defined first by the disappearance of his brother, Will, and then by the stark, painful absence within his own home, a mother consumed by grief and a father long gone. In the small, judgmental ecosystem of Hawkins, Jonathan is a ghost, a loner lingering on the fringes, captured through the lens of his camera and viewed by his peers as a weirdo, a creep, someone to be mocked or, worse, ignored entirely. His world is one of responsibility and sacrifice, of working a dead-end job to keep food on the table, of being more of a parent than a brother or a son. It is into this world of shadows that Nancy Wheeler, initially the archetype of popular, aspirational normality, unexpectedly stumbles. Their connection is not born of instant, flashy attraction, but of a shared, terrifying experience with the monster that took Will and took her best friend, Barb. Yet, what transforms this alliance of circumstance into one of the show's most genuine loves is not the shared trauma itself, but what Nancy does with what she witnesses in Jonathan during and after that chaos. Her journey towards him becomes a masterful narrative of love redefined as acceptance, a slow, steady process of looking past every label and seeing the real, remarkable person underneath. To understand the magnitude of Nancy's acceptance, we must first sit with the weight of Jonathan's isolation. He is poor in a town that values middle-class comfort. He is artistic and sensitive in a high school culture that prizes sports and loud confidence. He is caringly responsible in a family situation that others might find embarrassing or pitiable. Even his most profound act of devotion, searching tirelessly for his brother with his camera, is twisted by Steve Harrington and his friends into something perverse, calling him a pervert for taking photographs of Nancy through her window, a moment of deep misunderstanding that paints him as the ultimate outsider. Jonathan wears this alienation not with anger, but with a resigned sadness, a belief that this is simply his lot in life. He expects to be misunderstood. He expects to be alone. He has built walls not of aggression, but of quiet retreat, finding solace only in the music on his headphones and the truth he can capture through his viewfinder. He is, in every sense, unseen. Nancy's role is to become the seer. Her initial perception of him is, admittedly, tainted by the same mainstream biases of Hawkins High. She is Steve's girlfriend, part of that world that looks down on the Byers family. But the night Barb disappears cracks that world open. She goes to Jonathan not for comfort, but for answers, for his knowledge of the strange happenings. What she finds is not a creep, but a detective, a strategist, a young man of immense courage and loyalty. While others dismiss his theories about Will, Nancy listens. She sees the meticulous maps on his wall, the careful notes, the relentless dedication. She witnesses his calm under pressure when they are attacked by the Demogorgon, his quick thinking saving their lives. This is the first layer of her acceptance. She accepts the validity of his mind and his experience. She trusts his version of reality, a version the rest of the town, including her own parents, would find insane. In doing so, she validates his entire existence, which has been built on feeling like his truth was unimportant. The true cornerstone of Nancy's love as acceptance, however, is how she sees the very core of his character, the qualities that his difficult life has forged in him. Where Hawkins sees a loner, Nancy sees a fierce protector. She sees the way he cares for his mother, Joyce, not with embarrassment, but with a patient, weary love. She sees the boundless, desperate love he has for Will, a love that moves him to walk into literal nightmares to bring him home. She recognizes in him a moral compass that is unshakable. This is most beautifully illustrated in the contrast with Steve. Steve's initial arc is one of learning to apologize, to be brave, to do the right thing. Jonathan doesn't need to learn these things, he already is these things by necessity. Nancy comes to see that his strength isn't the loud, performative strength of a jock, but the quiet, resilient strength of someone who has been holding up the sky for his family for years. She accepts his poverty not as something to fix or pity, but as an irrelevant detail next to the richness of his spirit. She is not impressed by a fancy house, she is impressed by the dignity with which he inhabits his modest, Christmas light-strewn home. Furthermore, Nancy accepts and even champions Jonathan's sensitivity, the very trait for which he is most often mocked. His artistry with a camera is not a weird hobby to her, it's a unique way of seeing the world, a form of truth-telling. She doesn't ask him to be louder, or more conventionally masculine, or more normal. She falls in love with the observant, thoughtful person he is. She listens to his music. She values his opinions. In a relationship with Steve, she was often playing a part, trying to fit into a predefined idea of what a girlfriend should be. With Jonathan, there is no performance. She can be her own driven, curious, sometimes anxious self, and he accepts her fully in return. Their love is a mutual acceptance of entirety, the trauma, the ambitions, the weirdness, the pain. It is a partnership of equals who have seen the darkest parts of life and choose to face it together. Not with glamour, but with honesty. Their relationship is not presented as a fairy tale, it is weathered by distance, by the lingering scars of their experiences, by the pressures of college and life beyond Hawkins. But this only reinforces the thesis of acceptance. Their love is not a perfect, static thing, but a choice they keep making. It is shown in small, profound gestures, Nancy defending him to her parents, Jonathan supporting her journalistic ambitions without a shred of insecurity. The two of them communicating in a language of shared looks and understood silences that speaks of a deep, hard-worn familiarity. Nancy Wheeler, who once represented everything Jonathan was excluded from, becomes his home. She is the person who looked at the boy everyone called a creep and saw a hero. She saw the caregiver, the artist, the survivor, the unwavering heart. In a story filled with monsters from other dimensions, the most revolutionary act is often simple, human sight. Nancy's love for Jonathan Byers is the story of that sight, of looking into the shadows where someone has been left and saying, "I see you, and what I see is beautiful." It is love not as passion or possession, but as the ultimate form of recognition, a quiet, powerful force that finally allows Jonathan Byers, after so long being defined by what he has lost, to be found. And in that finding, they both find a version of themselves that is stronger, more real, and deeply understood, proving that the most powerful weapon against a world of darkness is not always a flashlight or an axe, but sometimes just the courage to truly see another person and to love them completely for exactly who they are.